welcome to episode 2 of Becoming You. It's your host, Marjani Aladdin, me, blogger at marjanialaddin.com. How are you guys doing today? Hello, thanks for joining. Those of you who are joining me on Facebook and Instagram and on Radionomy, if you're catching up to some of our posts for BFAM 109.6, we're so excited to broadcast today. This is our second show, and yesterday was such a blast. We did a deep dive into talking about what are the pillars of becoming focused and disciplined, which is a major principle and a major focus for a lot of us in 2019, setting those goals and trying to accomplish and become our best selves. So this whole week is all about discipline, how we can start to develop it, what it takes, and what it means to be more disciplined. So yesterday we really took some time to ask ourselves what it means to be focused and disciplined. And today I want to talk about one of the key components to improving your discipline that you might not have thought of. Super exciting. So today's topic is all about how you can improve your self-discipline with confidence. Yep, that's right. A lot of times we think about becoming more disciplined being something that means we have to be more strict on ourselves, or we have to become more rigid or less fun, or however you would like to position it. What it really comes down to is confidence. We touched on this a little bit yesterday, and if this is your first time joining us, I definitely encourage you to take some time and watch yesterday's stream, episode 1, because you'll really get a full grasp of what it means to be focused and disciplined. But we talked about how if you have any type of belief in yourself, in your goals, and what you're trying to achieve, that means that you have even this much confidence in yourself. And that is what is pivotal, necessary, and non-negotiable for creating the life that you hope to accomplish and accomplishing the goals that you have. It's super important. If you do not believe in yourself at all, if you do not think that you are even capable of accomplishing your goals, you would never set the goal, right? I'm sure, and sometimes it's sad, but we have all met someone in some place in their life where they're like, well, I just can't do that, so I'm not even gonna try. That is the prime example of someone who might even have a desire inside of them, but they do not have any belief at all. And the lack of belief, the lack of confidence in your ability to achieve something will keep you and stall you from ever starting. So before you try to take your first step, before you try to make yourself more disciplined and you're trying to be more strict, remember that it starts with confidence. And what makes you more confident? We're going to talk about that today. So my question for you guys today, if you are here on Facebook and Instagram, feel free to comment in the comment section below. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment for me. We'd love to hear what you think. But I want to know, have you in the last month or in the period of time since you've set your goal, have you felt discouraged or unmotivated towards a goal that you have recently set? And ask yourself, what is it that is keeping you from feeling that connection to the goal that you set 30, 60, 90 days ago? It is in the moments that we stumble and fall off track that are the most dangerous to our process of becoming our best selves. Because the opportunity to give into our fears, our insecurities, and excuses live in the moments in which we're uncomfortable. So if we don't recognize that we are uncomfortable because we don't feel confident in how we feel in that moment, or where we are in life, or we feel guilty or shameful about some of the mistakes that we have made, then it shrinks our confidence in ourselves, and therefore shrinks our personal power to be able to affect and change our lives. There is nothing permanent in this life except death. Yes, there are some mistakes that you can make that can have long-standing repercussions and consequences that you might have to make some changes in your process to get back from. But there is nothing, with the exception of death, that is permanent in life, which means that you can always set a goal and set to achieve it if you have the confidence and believe that you can do it. So remember that that's the most important thing. So while you set out to establish new habits and grow in your personal development journey, your self-discipline will carry you through the moments you feel unsure and disconnected to your goal. So we talked about how confidence is the foundation for your discipline. But as you grow that discipline, in the moments when you don't feel confident, that self-discipline that you have created will therefore reinforce your lack of confidence. It's so interesting how one feeds into the other, which is why it's so important to work on both simultaneously, to understand that you're consistently putting good into yourself, affirming yourself, knowing that you're capable of the things that you set out to do or the things that you desire to do in your heart. But at the same time, you have to be mindful and intentional about being disciplined to achieve those goals. You have to put processes in place, like we spoke about yesterday, in yesterday's video, to support the goals that you set out to achieve. It's not just gonna happen. You can't just wait for one day your goals to come into your lap and all the pieces to come together and great. Now it's easy. Now it's easy for me to achieve my goals. Now I don't have to feel confident. It just happens. Now I don't have to force myself out of my comfort zone. It has come to me. And I'm going to tell you the truth of the matter is nothing in life worth having or that is able to be kept will happen like that. It's not going to fall into your lap. Even the most perfect situations require hard work, intentional action, and consistency. That's the fact of the matter. Think about it this way. Your first job might not have challenged you in your skill set necessarily, but it required you, before you were able to improve your resume and get a job and career and the life in the place that you want, it required you to be consistent enough to prove yourself as a good employee so you can have a recommendation later. It required you to go and do something that might have been super easy and not challenging or creative or interesting to you. So it required commitment and being intentional. Maybe your goal was monetary. Probably. If you were 16, 15 years old getting your first job, it was all about the money. So, but what that required, your goal was money. What it required you to do was make a couple sacrifices, be consistent, show up. But you knew that you had the confidence to do it. Even if you were uncomfortable, it required that self-discipline. So that's why it's so important to understand how each of these things fits together. I'm breaking down these concepts over a course of 3 days because I personally believe that one of the things that is a pitfall of the personal development space is that we often understand what we need to do, but we lack the understanding of why we need to do it. So yes, I need to become more self-disciplined. Great, I get it. I need to be more intentional, I need to be more mindful, all of those things. But why does it really matter? What is the principle and foundational effect of these things in my life that is going to help me be successful? Self-confidence is not just about feeling good about yourself. It gives you personal power to control the direction of your life. It gives you the autonomy to say, I want to make these decisions and I have confidence in these decisions and they support the long-term goal that I have set for my life. That is the most powerful thing because at the end of the day, coming back to why we're here, we are becoming our best selves. And the only person that can create that version of your best self is you. That's it. You have that personal power. No one else. Not me and all my videos, not your mom, not your dad, not your significant other. No one but you is responsible and capable for doing the things that will get you to the places that you dream about. And those dreams, y'all, are not just magical things going into your head. They are the reflection of the purpose and power that you have here on this planet. We all have one life for a reason. If it was unnecessary for us to achieve a purpose, we would just live forever, right? But there is something that time and the limitation of it does to us. It gives it importance. So be confident and know that whatever you're going after, whatever you're seeking, the discipline that you need to achieve it, it starts with believing in yourself. A quick definition by Webster before we go to a quick break, okay? Self-confidence is defined by Webster as a feeling of trust in one's own abilities, qualities, and judgment. Without the belief that you can do something, affect change in your life, make improvements to your habits, then you will never take the steps necessary to make those things happen. It's a bit of a paradox, as we said before, right? The only people who cannot improve their lives are the people who never believe that they can. Everything is about belief. It is in these moments that you need the confidence to commit to your goal. So when we come back, we're going to talk about how do you become confident and how to commit to your goals a little bit better. Hi guys. Hey, thank you so much for joining me. Hey, Instagram. Y'all popping today. What's up? Who's working on their self-discipline? Me. Anybody over here working on self-discipline? Can I get a high five or a hands up? What do you guys, how about you guys over there? Anybody working on self-discipline? Hi Carla, Bill, Tom, Joyce, Renee, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you guys doing? I hope well. I hope that you guys are working on your self-discipline for the week, for the year. And I hope this message resonates with you guys today. Mario working on his self-discipline. Me too, bud. Me too. How about you guys on Instagram? Super excited, guys. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. All things planning, all things discipline, because it just has a huge effect on everything that we do. And I'm not perfect by any means necessary. We all have room for improvement, but when you acknowledge and understand where the power lies, you can connect to it better. All right, everybody. Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of Becoming You with me, your host, Marjani Aladdin with BFAM 109.6. So today we are talking about how to improve your discipline with self-confidence. Discipline is super important, and we want to make sure that we are doing what is necessary to get our goals accomplished and become our best selves in 2019. So before we went on our break, we started to discuss how do we become more confident. We've established that to become more disciplined, the foundation of it is belief in oneself. But how do we create that belief in ourselves? How do we manifest where we might be insecure or feel unfocused or feel unsure of where we are? What is it that gives you that belief or personal power? So let's get into it. How do you become confident? How does one create a real belief that they can make an actual change in the direction of their life? Like all things, you build it. Just like when you go to the gym and you build a muscle, you build your confidence through practice of consistent action of things that improve your confidence. So what that means is going back to how confidence and self-discipline play off of one another. In order to improve your self-confidence, you're going to have to put yourself into situations in which you have to exercise your ability to make yourself feel confident. And sometimes that means you have to be uncomfortable. Sometimes that means you have to push yourself. Sometimes that means you have to do things that you really don't want to do, or you're unsure of if it's the right direction to go in. But you have to use the muscles of affirmation, of self-discipline, of intent to get to that next level, to build that sense of self that says, oh, I am capable of doing this. I'm not just bad at everything, or I'm not, unworthy of this, or I am capable of this, or this is my power, and I believe in that, and I own that. And that's something that is such a powerful realization moment, right? I tell you something that helps me a lot. I know that people always talk about not looking back. Don't look into the past when you're going through a hard time. But I consistently like to look at past instances of success to help motivate me to feel confident. Because sometimes we can look at the future with such anxiety and confusion and dread, because that is the space in which you don't know. It is the unknown, and the unknown is always going to feel really scary, kind of daunting, and it's easy to want to retreat or retract from what we don't know. But what you do know is all of the times that you have overcome, that you have succeeded, and that you have surprised yourself on how dope and amazing and capable you are. that is a great way for you to instill confidence in yourself right now in the moment that you're in. Think of all the times you were like, oh, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to get this done. And you did it. And you did it better than you thought you would. Or it turned out more successful than you thought it would, right? There is power in the past if you know where to look for it. A lot of times we look for the past for sadness or comparison as opposed to power. Like, remember who you are. What did Mufasa say in Lion King? Simba, remember who you are, right? This is the truth. Remember who you are. Remember your power. Remember how dope you are. Remember where you come from and all the power that comes behind it. You are not just someone who just popped up one day with no purpose and no power. There have been things that you have been able to overcome already in your life that you should be able to pat yourself on the back and say, yes, I have that strength. I have that skill. It's like picking up a 10-pound weight. You picked up a 10-pound weight, so you know you can try 15. So what's the problem? Don't worry about if the 15-pound weight might be too much to handle. You haven't tried yet, but you know that you can at least try it because you did 10 pounds already. You know you can start your business because you helped your friend out before. You know you can run your own company or get to the next level in your business because you did it in college, or you were able to get that promotion when you didn't think you were able to before, and you can do it again. So remember all the times that you exerted and exacted and took ownership of your power, and that's going to charge you up to remind you of how capable you are and boost your confidence. So you can use the muscles of affirmation, positive self-talk, education, and pushing yourself to stretch to new heights to pump up your inner self and your confidence. Loving yourself is an intentional act. You don't accidentally fall in love with yourself. You don't accidentally become confident. It is often intentional. Now, sometimes it happens, someone has fed it into you as a child. Someone fed you affirmation. Someone told you that you were great. They put you in situations that you felt confident. But now that you're an adult, there is a shift. And a lot of us aren't taught this shift, to be honest, that we are now responsible for continuing the education and the process of affirming ourselves and connecting to our personal power and confidence. And that used to be mommy and daddy telling us you're great, patting you on the back, you getting an A on a paper at school, or getting, your friends to tell you how good or great they think something that you did was. That affirmed you previously. But in order to go to the next level, in order to get to the level that I know that you're dreaming about, the reason that you're here is because you have a belief in yourself that you are capable of doing more than what you're currently doing. And that's not to say you're not doing amazing things, but you already know there's a grander vision for your life, right? You already have that belief. We're all here for that reason. So connect to that, feed that feeling, know that you're capable of doing those things. And that belief in itself is going to propel all of your dreams forward and all of your goals forward. So like a muscle, our self-esteem needs to be exercised consistently to grow and be healthy and to accomplish the goals that you set for yourself. And you may inspire a few other people while doing so with your positive attitude. We take so many hurtful situations to our confidence on a daily basis. So it's super important that we are intentional and forward thinking about how we could possibly be shifted by the influence of the outside world. A couple of things that I like to do is to put affirmations in front of me. I have a couple of boards in my bedroom that have affirmations that I hang up, and I see them on a daily basis. I keep things keep myself surrounded by affirmations. For example, a little thing, this is just a notebook that I carry with me, and it says brilliance on the go, and it makes me feel good. It's cute. It makes me feel powerful when I read it. I have a note from another notebook that I have that somebody wrote to me, and I taped it in there, and it really motivates me whenever I start to do work, because every day is not going to be your strong day, but you want as many days as possible to be successful. So don't leave it up to happenstance. Make sure that you're giving yourself the opportunities to have the energy that promotes productivity, that promotes your purpose, that promotes your goals. we leave so much up to chance when we have way more control than what we think. Now, that's not to say something can't ruin your mood or affect your mood temporarily, but once again, as we spoke about yesterday, setting up those fail safes for success is going to propel you way faster than if you were just like, oh, okay, let me deal with this now. Meaning, do you know how you deal with a stressful situation? What are your methods for calming down when you feel overwhelmed or you feel like you're not capable of doing the things that you're trying to do? For example, me, I have a team. I have a couple people that when I have exhausted all of my affirmations and I've calmed myself down and I've tried to give myself a talk and none of that has worked, I have my go-to team that I call to talk me off of my ledge of insecurity to help me come back down. Now, that's not to say that they are responsible for making sure that I feel confident. What it means that is I acknowledge that I have a support system that when I am not capable of connecting to that confidence and that power within myself, that I don't leave it up to myself to wallow in it. I then reach out for help and ask someone to bring it out. Okay, so shout out to my mom, shout out to my dad, shout out to Mario, and of course, shout out to my best friend of 17 years, Gabby. Hi, boo. Those are the people that I always reach out to because they know me. And sometimes we can get in our own heads and get a little crazy, like, oh, I can't do this, I'm not capable, this sucks, I'll never be able to accomplish anything. And we need those people, those things, or places in our lives that are safe spaces for our confidence to come out of its shell and prove itself, okay? On the road to creating a successful life that has your special brand of happiness all over it, the driving force will always come back to inner peace and self-love. How you feel about yourself and your life will always matter more than the things that you've checked off of a list. So remember, as you seek to create a more mindful and disciplined life, connect to building yourself up. Feed yourself affirmation. Stop being so hard on yourself. Be intentional. Don't be so soft on yourself that you're not getting things done. But also love yourself. Know that a mistake or a stumble or a hard time does not mean that it's the end of things. But you have to immediately, once you acknowledge that, take the steps to make changes. So super important. Hey guys, it's the most important thing, confidence. If you are not confident in yourself, you're not going to get very far. And that's not to say you have to be arrogant, but understand that there is power within you. We all have it. Connect to it. Building a life of self-confidence is a big part of my story. There are certain parts of my life that I feel I'm very confident in. Naturally, those are areas that have been affirmed and built over the years through extracurriculars, family, friends, natural talents, like we all have. And there are places that aren't. For example, I am not very confident at running. If you put me on a track, I'm not going to feel very good about myself. I'm going to try, but I'm not going to feel very great about myself immediately because I don't feel confident in being a runner per se, right? But if you ask me to write a business plan, oh honey, I got you. It's no problem, right? But that does not mean that there's somebody that's going to be in a different space, right? That they don't feel confident writing a business plan. But that doesn't mean that they don't have to do it. So they're going to have to believe in their ability to achieve something in order to make the first steps, just like running a mile. Just a little backstory, y'all. I used to be over 200 pounds, and that's how I lost the weight, running. So that is a true metaphor. That is really how I feel. Hi guys, I see a couple people joined me on Instagram. Hey, appreciate you joining me today. So I would love to know, what are the moments that you guys feel your confidence is shaken? What is it that you often feel makes you feel taken aback? You can drop a comment on Instagram or Facebook if you're following along, or you can call into the BFAM line. I'm going to drop the number for you guys. It is 678 383-4378. If you want to call in, we can talk about it. But I'd love to know what are the areas that you feel that your confidence gets shaken, and what is your response to that? Do you retreat? Do you attack it? What is your personal response to your confidence being shaken, and how does that affect your self-discipline? I already told you mine is working out. No, but honestly, one of mine personally is public speaking. So I navigated into this space this year that I was feeling uncomfortable about it. I know you guys are going to be like, what? You should speak. You obviously talk all the time. Arjana, you never stop talking if you know me. But the thing is, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to believe that you're capable of doing it. So we will be back in just a moment, and then we're going to touch on a couple of things necessary to build that self-confidence. Sticking to a diet. You're struggling with sticking to a diet? You can do it. You can do it. That would make me feel uncomfortable too sometimes, but everything is a process, so set yourself up for success by maybe looking up some good recipes for the things that you love. If there's something you love, here's the thing. Pinterest is your best friend. I know you're a guy, you might not have a Pinterest account, but I'm telling you, get a Pinterest account, look up alternatives for some of your favorite meals, and meal prep. Meal prep for a week, and not like cook all of your stuff on one day. Have a grocery day, sit on a Sunday, prep your meals, season them, stick them in the freezer, and then before you go to work, or if you work from a home office or something like that, take it out. It will unthaw and you'll have a healthy meal. One of my favorite ones is salmon and asparagus. It's a super easy, delicious meal to eat that's healthy. So if that helps, hopefully it's helpful. Public speaking is a hard one. I agree. Eric, I definitely agree. Alice, Cassie, Carol, thank you so much for joining. How are you guys doing today? Anybody over there struggling with their confidence or finding that something shakes their confidence? And here's the thing about public speaking, Eric. You can, first of all, you can do it. I personally know that you're capable of doing it. You have something that people need, and that's why you want to public speak. There is obviously something that you know is valuable within yourself that can help other people, that can educate them, that you want to and know is necessary for them to become their best self. So 2 things I'm going to tell you. Number 1, practice. Practice, but don't expect perfection. Okay, it's not going to be perfect. It's okay if it's not. Sometimes it's better if it's not, because then it's more relatable. And number 2, shift your priority from your nerves to providing value to others, okay? Because the reason why you want to speak publicly is because you know that there's a gift that you have inside of you that they can benefit from. So if you stay so focused on what you're providing to others, then you'll be less likely to focus on your nerves and your thought of not being able to accomplish it, which you totally can. All right, guys, welcome back. If you're following on Instagram and Facebook, we've been chatting it up already, but if you're following along on Radionomy or seeing YouTube, welcome back. So we have touched on why it's so important to be confident and how it influences our self-discipline and our ability to achieve our goals. And then now I want to talk about what the principles of self-discipline actually are. In order to form the habits and cultivate a deeper sense of self-discipline and control over our actions, we must take steps to break the bad habits that we've already formed. Now, some of these bad habits have been formed personally over years of being inconsistent or not being disciplined, not creating those that sense of discipline or consistency in your life. Some of these things are learned behaviors, and I want to dive into that just for a minute. Majority of the things that we do are learned behaviors. Everything from how we respond to things, our laugh, the music we like, the way we dress, they have been given to us from society, the people that are around us, whether those are our family, our friends, just people that we are in contact with. So a lot of our adult life, especially our 20s, is about, number one, acknowledging that these pre-set up responses exist within us, and some of those are mindsets and beliefs, acknowledging that they have been given to us. Number two, separating from those and analyzing them. And then number three, creating our own or dismantling the ones that no longer service us. And this is so important when it comes to our productivity and our goals, because we might have learned bad behaviors that we're going to spend quite a bit of time trying to figure out why we're not productive, when the thing you learned at 5 years old is actually the cause of it. Because the way you were taught to handle your homework, or how you handle adversity, or when you struggle with something, all of those things can affect your confidence. And if you weren't necessarily taught or given extra time and awareness of those triggered moments, then you're going to fall back into those bad behaviors or those habits that are not servicing your goals and your purpose. So it is important, excuse me, that we take steps to form good habits, break bad ones, and shift our mindset from things that used to service us to the things that currently grow us. This is how we change what is comfortable and natural to us to becoming a natural part of our best selves. So we talk about our best selves and turning into the best versions of ourselves all the time. How do we become someone different? It's a consistent evolution of self. A consistent changing little bit by little bit, that one day we become the biggest and best version of ourselves, which is, in my opinion, at the end of our lives, because at no point should we be stopping the growth process, whether that's physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. We should all be growing in some space. So if we can go from being naturally unorganized to being clear, having systems in place, being more neat, what is the separation between point A and point B, or I should say Z, right? Point A and point Z, because there's B all the way to Y in between, and each of those letters are each day an opportunity that you get to improve your discipline. The first thing that you're going to have to ask yourself as you develop this self-discipline, as you connect to your confidence and your ability to achieve your goals, is how committed am I to my goal? This is a real question you need to ask yourself, and a question that I have asked myself, and I try to ask myself once a quarter, because it is very easy to set goals for ourselves and say, this is what I want to do. I'm very excited about it. I want to put my best foot forward. But our actions are not supporting the goals that we have actually set out. And so we are wishing for things to just happen, where that's not how things work. Now, does manifestation happen? Absolutely. You can definitely attract positivity and opportunity into your life. But that is only one piece of the success puzzle. You can manifest it, but you also have to work for it. You also have to accrue the skills and develop the skills necessary for you to become the person that's going to take on the weight of the success that you want. It's not going to come easy. It's not going to come from the faint of heart, and it's not for the weak. Success is not for the weak. And the reason why it's not for the weak is because, not to overquote the Marvel Universe and Peter Parker, Uncle Ben, shout out, but not to overquote it, but with great power comes great responsibility. So yes, you're going to want a certain status in life. You're going to want certain money. You're going to want to have a certain job or have a family. And with all of those great, amazing things, traveling the world, having a business, having freedom of your financials and your time, it's also going to require more discipline than you think necessary, more commitment, more intent, more commitment to the goals that you set, because when you level up, so is necessary for those traits within yourself. If you notice, a lot of the most successful people have mastered some of these traits of self-discipline, of intent, of self-awareness as it pertains to their business or to their craft or specialty field. Now, these things are applicable in our personal lives as well. These are key skills that are necessary for us to become our best selves, but also our happiest selves. Because when we find fulfillment in our lives, when we feel like we're living our purpose, that is when people feel the most valuable and they feel the happiest. And often that begins with the commitment to the dream or the vision of ourselves that we have set out to. So ask yourself, how committed are you to the vision of yourself that you have in your brain? Do you really want it, or you just kind of like, meh, it'll happen, and if it doesn't, it doesn't? If you really want it to happen, it's time to work for it. It's time to be intentional and create that commitment. The reason most people give up is because they lack a connection to their goals. What it means is that your goal is just a piece of paper, something written in a notebook, something to check off. We talked about this yesterday too. It is more than just having something on your list to do. You need to find the why behind your try. What is the real reason, the purpose behind your goal that is pushing you forward? Because if you don't know the true motivation behind it, like I said yesterday, it could take 6 months, it could take 6 years, but at some point you're gonna burn out because you're not connected to the reason why you're working so hard. At some point you're gonna say, why is this worth it? We see this a lot of times with people that have gone into careers and they've worked there for 40 years and then they wake up and like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. And you're like, but you've done this for this amount of time. I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. I don't feel motivated. Or the reason why I used to do it, which was family, stability, health insurance, maybe the kids are grown up. I don't have that motivation anymore. And therefore my connection to my commitment is dissipating. I no longer feel that motivation, and therefore I no longer feel fulfilled in my life. And as I said before, all of our goals is out of a desire to be fulfilled, to feel happy, and to avoid suffering. We all just want to live a happy life where we feel purposeful and successful. Okay, so we're also talking about commitment, but let's also talk about accountability. Make yourself accountable for the goals you set. Yesterday, I dropped a couple of tips on how you could do that with accountability partners, posting things online, journals, to-do lists, things of that nature. But it is so important, however you decide to do it, that you are making sure that you are your big boss. You are the one checking in to make sure that you are accomplishing your personal assignments, and whatever that is, whatever area of your life you are seeking to improve and grow, you are going to have to make sure that you're doing the job well. My favorite is auditing my week, taking that time at the end of the week to look at all of the things I've done and haven't done, and seeing if it connects and if I'm actually committed to the goals that I've set out. That commitment is so important. And if you find yourself feeling like you're not committed, this is a great opportunity, because these two things can happen. Either you can realize that that dream is no longer for you and go on to a new one, reset your priorities, set a new goal, or you can say, why am I not committed anymore? What's missing? And reconnect yourself. When you audit, you give yourself the opportunity to lessen the time of confusion and lack of clarity. Because the truth is, as humans, we can just go. There are people who live their whole life on autopilot and never achieve a sense of self-awareness because they never slow down and ask themselves questions. But if you check in with yourself consistently and say, man, why is this not important to me anymore? Why am I working so hard? What is it about this that no longer feeds me? And what do I want to do about it? You have now taken ownership and responsibility over the trajectory of your life in the best possible way. It is no longer about just being checking off things in a list. It's no longer about improving or impressing others. It's about what works for you on a weekly, daily, monthly basis. And that's the best way to become your best self and truly feel happy about it, truly feel fulfilled about it. And that's what we all want, okay? So I want you guys to think about how you can track and audit your self-discipline and your commitment to your goals, whatever that is. If you're going to the gym 3 times a week, are you checking that you've done it 3 times a week, or are you only going once for 3 weeks? And what is it that's keeping you back? And I use these examples because they're the most universal, but if there's a specific example that you have questions about of how you can improve your discipline or connect to your self-confidence, please feel free to drop a comment in any of the online platforms that we're on, YouTube. You can even send me a personal email and I will respond to you. It's marjanialaddin@gmail.com. I'm always available, or DM me, because all I want you guys to know is you are powerful. I'm looking at you. You are powerful and you are purposeful. You are powerful and you are purposeful. You are powerful and you are purposeful. And that's honestly what I want you guys to get. There is nothing in this world that is too big for you if it's in your brain. That's why you have it. Literally, Elon Musk, he is literally like science, right? He wants to go to Mars, and I'm sure they're like, whoa, that's crazy. But listen, he has the confidence to commit to his goal and discipline to achieve it. Those are the 3 things, and you can go to Mars. Now, of course, it takes a lot of other stuff, but this is the foundation. Notice none of those things were money. None of those things were investors. None of those things were a PhD or a Harvard degree. They were the ability to know that you can, the commitment to say that you will, and the discipline to do it. We'll be right back. Hi, what field am I in? So personal development, a specialization. I specialize in mindfulness training, self-discipline, and productivity, but mostly teaching people how to establish and connect to their personal purpose. Thank you for joining us today. All right, hey Billy. Good to see you again, 2 days in a row. Love it. Thank you so much for your support. You're amazing. What are you thinking? How's that self-discipline process going? If you tuned in for a second day, I know you got some tips yesterday. I want to hear what you thought. Ariel, Precious, Xavier, thank you so much. Xavier, I think you might be one of my friends, Xavier. If so, hello. If not, you're my new friend. Welcome. So glad to have you. Always happy to have David's family, the B-Fam family, joining in with us, and my Instagram fam, Facebook fam. Thank you so much for your support. How are you guys feeling? Confident? I want to know what makes you feel the most confident when you're not feeling confident. Drop that in the description for me. We're getting to our last 15, and we're going to wrap up the last 3 things that you need to develop self-discipline, those foundations of self-discipline. For those of you that don't know, I do have a blog as well. It's marjanialaddin.com, the same spelling you see on all social media. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Email me if you'd like. Everything is Marjani Aladdin, and I specifically have a blog post on the principles of self-discipline already up on my blog. If you were taking notes or you wanted to relook at some of the things we spoke about today, all of this information is already on my blog, as well as how to improve your self-discipline with confidence, and yesterday's how to become more focused and disciplined. Hello. Yes. Hello everybody, welcome back, welcome back. We are getting ready to finish up, but we are going to hit the last 3 points of how to develop your self-discipline and why it's so important. So we touched on why you need to improve your confidence in order to become self-disciplined, and what it is important to establish is a level of commitment. So know that you're capable of doing something, but also committing to the task and the process necessary. And that commitment is not necessarily a commitment to the known, but a commitment to the unknown as well. A commitment to the process doesn't always mean you know everything that's going to happen, but that you are willing to stay in that process and do whatever it takes to achieve your goal. And sometimes that's going to take some pivoting. That's going to take some reworking your plan and your mindset and what does and what doesn't work. But know that if you have the confidence and the commitment, you're going to see your goal through. Okay, so as we wrap up, guys, know that there are 3 other foundational tools that you need in order to develop that sense of self-discipline. And that, after commitment and accountability, is sacrifice. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. No one wants to sacrifice. I know, this is the part that sucks. It's like, no, we were doing so good, Marjani. We were intentional and accountable and confident. I could do all that, but I don't want to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice time. You're going to have to sacrifice comfort. You might have to sacrifice people that you're around that are no longer feeding positivity into you. You're going to have to sacrifice old mindsets that no longer service you. Sacrifice doesn't always mean that you're losing something, but that you are now exchanging one thing for another. So for example, I'm off work right now, technically. My dream is to help feed into other people through this brand. That means that right now I could probably be sitting at home in the bed. I'm sacrificing free time. I don't think it's sacrifice. I love doing this. But I'm sacrificing free time in order to propel my dreams. What that means is I committed to something now that 6 months from now I might be like, man, I really wish I could sit in bed for an hour today. But that's that commitment piece, right? And it's going to mean a sacrifice of these hours or the time or the energy it takes to make sure that I'm preparing in order to get to the next level of what I'm trying to achieve. And that's the same thing for the things that you guys are looking to achieve in your personal lives, whether that's in your relationship. If you're trying to get to a new place in your relationship, there's going to be times where you're going to have to sacrifice your personal comfort. You're going to have to sacrifice or compromise on things that you don't want to compromise for the greater good of the relationship. And that could be personal relationships with family, friends, your significant others, your relationship with yourself. You might have to sacrifice doing things that no longer are healthy for you in order for you to become your better self. And that process might really suck. Someone said sticking to a diet, right? So if you're talking about sticking to a diet, you might have to sacrifice those delicious cupcakes that you ate every Friday for something a little healthier so that you can become the version of yourself that you're seeking to become. Sacrifice is not always a bad thing. It's uncomfortable often because we are creatures of habit and we're going to keep doing what we've always been doing, right? But it's necessary to grow. It's the shedding of our shells, coming out of our cocoons to become the butterfly we are meant to be. But it takes the shedding of those things first. So sacrifice is a fact of life. In order to gain something, you will more than likely have to give something up. This is true for the habit of self-discipline. We talked about this yesterday. Self-discipline is not a skill, it's a habit, and you have to develop it over time. Or it's not something that happens, it's something that you develop over time like a skill. You will have to shed habits and mindsets that hold you back from your ultimate goals. This may mean the way you spend your time will change, or the people that you hang out with. Maybe even the way that you make your financial decisions. Sometimes losing things is not the worst thing in the world, but instead an evolution of self and a shedding of that which no longer serves us. Know that sacrifice is a part of change because we must rid ourselves of what no longer works for us for the person that we are becoming. So sacrifice, remember that, guys. I know that there's going to be times where we don't want to sacrifice, but it is an important and pivotal part of the commitment process. If you're not willing to sacrifice, you have to ask yourself, once again, how committed are you? And if you're not committed, am I confident that I can achieve this? And if I am not confident, why am I not confident? So remember, all of these things stack on top of each other. We spoke about this one yesterday. It's another doozy. Patience. Are you patient with your process? So while you're staying committed, this raffles back into commitment again, because if you have committed to something, you might not know how long that process is going to take. You might commit to something, you're like, oh, I'm going to achieve this goal in 3 months. I'm going to do this in 3 months. And once I do it, I'm great. Awesome. Well, guess what? It took 6 months. Are you sticking it out? Are you going to keep doing what you're supposed to do? Are you going to stay committed and confident that you can achieve the goals that are necessary? Can you sacrifice the additional time necessary for you to achieve that goal? Patience is one of the hardest things to achieve, okay? It's a part of the process of achieving your goals is the waiting process, because it's necessary. Patience is actually a necessary part of getting to the next level, because whatever next level you have after that is going to require an elevated amount of patience. So remember that these are skills that are snowballing down the hill for you to become your biggest, best self. Change is an evolutionary process that builds itself over time. It can be hard, but understand that all things worth having take time to build. This includes our habits and especially means our best lives. One way to cope with impatience and becoming unmotivated is to set milestone goals and to remember to celebrate your wins. So we spoke about this yesterday too, affirmation. So while you are making sure that you are being patient for your process, in the meantime, so you don't become so overwhelmed with it, set small goals that will support your big goals so that you can celebrate yourself. Make a goal for a 6-month period, but once a month you have small goals that get you closer and closer to that goal that you can celebrate. Know how powerful you are and that you're doing it. You're kicking butt. Celebrate your wins, both big and small. Cultivating self-discipline is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and that definitely requires patience. So last but not least, intent. I'm going to talk about intent in probably every single video I talk about, because being intentional is really a foundational element of being successful. It is making moves with purpose and with clarity so that you are not leaving your success up to happenstance. I mean, would you trust a stranger with your success? Would you hand over your life's goal and the trajectory of your life to someone you didn't know or to a group of people you don't know? Essentially, when you are not being clear and intentional about your actions, that's what you're doing. You're letting life happen to you instead of writing the narrative of your own life, which is, once again, silly. You are the author of your life. Why would you have somebody else write your story? You write your story. It is going to be an amazing one if you realize all the powers and the capability that you have to create this amazing, fabulous, purposeful life that everyone needs you to achieve so that you can affect others in a great and expansive way. So, self-discipline is not the work of happenstance. It is generally the carefully planned, intentional action of a determined or very clear mind that makes a disciplined decision. Someone who is disciplined about healthy eating is intentional about where they eat or what they eat so that they can meal prep or avoid temptation that will take them away from their goal. It's the same thing about someone who doesn't want to necessarily spend money. I used to not bring my bank card when I worked at a mall so that I wouldn't spend things when I was at work. I would literally only take like $10 in cash so that I would have, if worst case scenario, if I had to get like a Uber or something, I can use my card. I don't need to have it on me, or I can purchase a minimum or a maximum of $10 at any store or lunch. And what that did was it created discipline because I was being intentional about not letting my emotions carry me through every stage of my life. I knew that if I wanted to be more financially stable at that point, I was working in the mall about 4 or 5 years ago when I first moved to Atlanta. I was a stylist for BB, and so I was there for long hours. It's very easy to go get Starbucks 3 times when you're on your shift, and that racks up, right? You're working at the mall, like, oh, that dress is cute, you know, it's just $25. Well, if you're at the mall 5 days a week spending $25 a day, you have a shopping problem. And you're not being intentional about your finances. So I had to create a system that supported the goal that I said I wanted to achieve. I had to be committed. And then I had to be patient with myself because there were times when I really wanted to go and spend that extra money. But I set up things like bringing my lunch, not taking too much money, meal prepping, eating before I got there so that I set myself up for success. I was intentional about the things that I did so that my goals, my success was not an accident. The successes that I was able to achieve were not because someone else did them for me or I necessarily lucked up. That's not to say that there were not other people that have influenced my success and positively influenced me or given me breaks. But there were so many times that I would not have had those opportunities if I wasn't intentional about the places that I put myself in, or intentional about taking those opportunities that people gave me and making the most of them. So it comes in different wavelengths, guys, but being intentional and clear is really the foundation of it. Because life is going to throw you opportunities and it's going to throw you curveballs, and what you do with it is up to you. And what you do with it is completely up to you. Be mindful and intentional about your choices, actions, and thoughts. Consistent audit of your mindset will help you stay aligned and connected to your why. Talked about that why in your try yesterday, and on track with your goals. Cultivating a disciplined mindset begins with setting and communicating your goal to yourself, and then creating a plan and processes that support it. So guys, that's it. That's what we came here to speak about. Creating foundations of self-discipline start with knowing that you are capable and meant to do something amazing in this world. That's the confidence. That's a confidence factor. Don't doubt yourself. Know that you're able to do it, and know that you're meant to do it. Just know that you can. And the moment that you have that inkling of confidence, it doesn't mean you have to believe that you can do it all, that you know how everything's going to happen. If you feel a sparkle in your heart, a dream that has come into your head that maybe you can, follow that feeling until the confidence is roaring inside of you. Make sure, feed it with self-discipline. Give it opportunity to grow. Be committed, be accountable, sacrifice where it's necessary, be patient in your process, and be intentional the entire way through. Because that's how you'll be successful. And then that's how you'll also live your best life. It's not always about just being successful. When I say success, it's about success in the form of creating a life that fulfills you, that helps you be purposeful, and helps you feel amazing. That's what I mean by success. Not just your job, not just your money, not just your titles, not just the things you have. A sense of fulfillment in your life. Okay? So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I just want to say a special thank you to our sponsor from yesterday, and also extending our giveaway through the 15th of February with The Local Market. The Local Market is a plant-based pop-up and online marketplace that supports local entrepreneurs and promotes a more sustainable future. We will be giving away coffee and some really amazing all-natural products. On the 15th, the contest will end, and we will be notifying the winner both on here and social media. So make sure that you're following along. Thank you so much for following along today. Drop your comments. Once again, if you have not already followed me on Facebook, Instagram, make sure you're following BFam on YouTube 109.6. You guys have a great day. Bye.